Greg Ehrenberg here with Adam for another edition of the NBA Injury Report. And do us a favor, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Pretty big NBA slate. There's going to be lots of news. So you're going to want to be kept aware of everything that happens in terms of the injury report, what changes. Leave us a comment below if you have any questions of what's going on. Also, check out the deep dive live before lock later in the day. Check out Adam's GPP tournament videos. Good slate, lots of stuff going on here. And we're going to start this video the same way we started Mondays, which is Jarrett Allen is questionable. At least today, we do know a little bit in advance. It wasn't him getting downgraded right before the show started. But Adam, after we saw from the Cavaliers the other day without Jarrett Allen out, what do you think happens if he's not able to play today?
So I assume they'll start Ed Davis again. He played about 17 minutes last game, did have 5 fouls. So keep in mind at least that there is some chance he plays, 24 minutes instead of 17. But I expect that you would get Davis in the starting lineup. You would get a couple more minutes for Kevin Love. I think he played like 24 or 25 in that game. It doesn't make a huge fantasy impact, I think. Like, it makes Love more appealing. It makes Ed Davis, you can throw darts and hope for the best. You shouldn't be very confident, but it's not like you're taking a high usage guy out of the lineup. And they kind of just gave more minutes to a variety of guys. Like Davis got 18. Dean Wade played 36. He's a good play one way or the other, assuming he starts. But if Allen is out and Wade is starting in place of Markkanen, Wade's minutes are more secure. But I think that it's more of just like a slight benefit to guys like Love picking up a couple more minutes, Mobley rebounding, a little bit more probably, but nothing that really stands out.
Yeah, after the results from last game, I'm pretty thrilled that I incorrectly projected Kevin Love's minutes because I got to a whole bunch of Kevin Love.
Yeah.
He crushed in limited minutes, but I certainly would have played. I wouldn't have played nearly as much of them if I projected for the actual minutes he played. I thought he was going to play like 28 minutes, but even in the limited minutes, he'd close to a double at halftime in that game. But no Lauri Markkanen. There is a chance, I think, for a little bit more playing time upside for Kevin Love, given how well he played the other day. The next situation here, the Sacramento Kings. We've got De'Aaron Fox. He's questionable. Terrence Davis, who looked like he could have been a really good value play yesterday, got off to a good start, but then he gets hit in the face, ends up getting a cut, wasn't able to return. The Kings just ruled him out for today. Adam, what does the backcourt situation look like for Sacramento if there is no Fox in addition to no Terrence Davis?
Yeah, so Fox has a big impact on Halliburton. Halliburton has about a 40% assist percentage without Fox on the floor this year. So you would get Halliburton looking pretty good if Fox is out. But also you would start to get more playing time for guys. Like when Fox was out before and you were getting 30 or more minutes from Terrence Davis, there's only so many minutes available for guys like Buddy Hield or Davion Mitchell. If Fox, like we know Davis is out, if Fox is also out, I think that it makes it so Hield could potentially play into the mid 30s. Davion Mitchell could potentially play, 26 to 28 minutes. On DraftKings, those guys are still kind of priced like you need that to happen. They're kind of inexplicably expensive, but on FanDuel, they're really cheap. Like Buddy Hield on FanDuel is priced for his normal role. So if you get De'Aaron Fox out in addition to Terrence Davis being out, you're probably looking at Hield as a very, very good option.
Yeah, Buddy Hield started the second half in place of Terrence Davis last night. Pretty good indication there's a chance that he's going to start play extended minutes tonight. Another injury situation, a team that really can't afford to lose bodies, the Denver Nuggets. Will Barton is questionable to play, and we know this team has been really banged up by injuries this year. Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., they've been out for an extended period of time. They also had PJ Dozier was out for the season, so they ended up trading him to the Boston Celtics. If Will Barton's out here, there's just nothing in terms of depth on Denver. Who do you think picks up the minutes?
So the minutes, I think, still end up pretty spread out. We saw it in their last game, last night. You still, from the bench guys, you didn't get more than 19 minutes from anybody. You have Bryn Forbes now, so he played, 18 and a half minutes. You got 18 and a half minutes from Campazzo. Bones Highland went from being a DNP to playing like 8 minutes or something like that. As far as the bench guys go, and you had Austin Rivers move into the starting lineup and play like 26, which kind of doesn't matter at all for DFS. So as far as those fringe guys go, I don't really care if Barton is in or out. Where I do think he has an impact is Monte Morris has averaged over a fantasy point per minute in the 6 games that he's played this year with Jokic in and both of Barton and Porter out. Similarly, Jokic has a 41% assist percentage without Barton or Porter on the floor this year. In the 6 games he's played without Barton, the assist percentage is about 50%. So you get Jokic going from already probably the best point per minute guy on the slate to even more of the best point per minute guy on the slate if Barton is out.
Yeah, and that is definitely something else. One of the reasons that we've seen such gaudy numbers from Nikola Jokic is because there's nobody else to do anything for the Denver Nuggets,
Right.
at least for the time being. So you just take another guy out, and it almost doesn't matter because Jokic is already the top spend up option. It just becomes even more the top spend up option if Barton's not able to play. But still, lots more important news coming up. Actually, the most important injury news on the entire slate. We're going to be talking about that in a second. But first, shout out to Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports, who sponsored the NBA Injury Report. We have a good partnership with them. If you use the link in the description box below to sign up for Yahoo, you click on that link, head on over to Yahoo, make a deposit, enter a contest. You get 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum, get access to all the tools we have over at Awesemo that are invaluable in building DFS lineups, projections, ownership projections, and other tools to help identify the best plays on each slate. Moving on with the rest of the injury report, we've got the Toronto Raptors. Scotty Barnes is questionable. Fred VanVleet is questionable. Both of them were out yesterday. The minutes were maybe not quite as concentrated as we've seen in other spots. It wasn't like all the starters just went out and played 45 minutes or anything like that. But Pascal Siakam had a massive game. Chris Boucher started. Was a little bit underwhelming, but still, I think there's a lot of upside there. How do you view this situation if there is no Fred VanVleet or Scotty Barnes tonight?
I would want to go right back to it, and I really want to go back to it regardless. It's just a matter of who is starting and who am I going back to. But like you said, the rotation was a little bit deeper. You only got like 24 minutes from Precious Achua, which, as someone who finished in ninth place on DraftKings with Precious Achua, really pisses me off. But I still don't think you can just say, oh, well, Achua is going to play 25, 26 minutes. Like, this guy was averaging 35 minutes per game in his starts when Gary Trent was out. That is at least on the table, even if it's not the most likely outcome. I don't know that they necessarily have to give that many minutes to Watanabe and Banton and all those guys again. So, at the very least, if Van Vliet or Barnes or both are out, a $3,800 Achua is interesting in tournaments, even if he's not the safest. But 5K Gary Trent already looks good. He'll look even better. $8,900 Pascal Siakam already looks good. He'll look even better. He has close to a 30% assist percentage without Fred VanVleet on the floor this year. Anunoby looks better. Boucher is one guy that goes. Boucher and Achua, I think, are the two that go from if everybody is in, to, if Barnes and VanVleet are in, I don't think you can really get to Achua or Boucher. If they're out, they become playable guys. And then Siakam, Anunoby, Trent, they're playable regardless, but they just look even better if Barnes and or VanVleet are out.
Now the last game on the slate, which has some of the biggest injury news really on both sides, starting with the Phoenix Suns taking on the Utah Jazz. On the Sun side of the game, DeAndre Ayton's out, Jay Crowder's out, JaVale McGee is out, Cameron Payne, Frank Kaminsky, Abdul Nader are also out. Fairly thin team in the front court now, the Phoenix Suns. Do you think just all of the minutes go to Bismack Biyombo? Do we see a healthy chunk of minutes go to Jalen Smith? Who stands out the most at the center position?
So I'm expecting Biyombo to basically play starter minutes at center. He's been playing a ton off the bench behind McGee when McGee gets in foul trouble. So that should tell you that conditioning isn't an issue. There's no physical limitations or anything. And if the game goes normally, you're probably getting like 32 minutes or something from Biyombo. I expect Jalen Smith to be his backup. And that's a really interesting piece in tournaments because Jalen Smith is 3,600 with power forward eligibility on DraftKings. If he plays 14 to 16 minutes, yeah, that's probably not useful. But you can build some really high upside lineups where you say, what happens if Biyombo gets in foul trouble, plays poorly, whatever. If for one reason or another you get some sort of like 24-24 split here, Jalen Smith at 3,600 as a power forward is extremely valuable. So I do like taking shots there in tournaments. The worst thing that's going to happen is you don't win the tournament, and you're probably not going to do that anyway. So I do like taking those shots. But Biyombo, assuming he plays starters minutes, looks good as well. He's averaged 1.2 DraftKings points per minute this year. And then Cameron Johnson, to me, looks like one of the best values on the slate, particularly on DraftKings. Like on FanDuel, he's 5,200, small forward only. That's fine. But on DraftKings, he's small forward, power forward at 4,300, likely to play 36 minutes or so. It's one of those situations where outside of injury, foul trouble, ejection, it's going to be really difficult for Cameron Johnson to have a game that actually hurts you at 4,300. And he's probably a lot more likely to have a game that actively hurts you if you don't have him at that price.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying on Twitter, oh my God, look at Bismack Biyombo. How do you get so good at this point in his career? Well, Chris Paul, if you're a big man and you're capable of just catching lobs and dunking, Chris Paul is going to find you for buckets. That's a lot of what's contributing to Bismack Biyombo's fantasy production. On the other side of this game, the Utah Jazz also a little bit banged up. Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, they both remain out. We have Bojan Bogdanovic, Mike Conley, Joe Ingles, Royce O'Neal, all expected to be back in the rotation today. They were all out last game. What stands out to you from Utah with Gobert and Mitchell still out?
Hassan Whiteside.
Yeah.
So on DraftKings, at least, like the Jazz are priced up. Even Whiteside 6,600. So you don't have a huge margin for error there. But Clarkson's expensive, Conley's expensive, Bogdanovich is expensive. All of those guys, if you get to them in tournaments, fine. I think on FanDuel they're a little bit cheaper, but Whiteside still, like, he played 32 minutes last game. I actually didn't even realize he had played that many minutes because I saw Utah beat writers, multiple Utah beat writers, just tweeting about how Hassan Whiteside looked like he did not care at all about being in this game, or his effort level being non-existent. I thought he'd gotten benched just based on them, but he didn't. He played 32 minutes. He's averaged about 0.95 DraftKings points per minute in his 4 starts this year, but 1.2 DraftKings points per minute overall. He's not the type of guy that really, over a larger sample, should lose production as a starter. He's not a high usage guy one way or the other, and Donovan Mitchell's not playing tonight anyway, so who really cares? He's still like, the minutes to me are the big thing for Whiteside. If you're going to get 30 to 32 minutes from him, I still have a really hard time thinking he's not a very good player.
And that is going to do it for us. Like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Any questions, comments, anything you want to say, leave it in the comment section below. I'll be checking those out later on in the day. Good luck tonight, guys.